Welcome back to Literally First Class. I'm excited today because this is going to be like your resource guide. I'm going to give you an overview on ways that you can work with us, but also like things that I use in my business that I provide to our clients, such as books, for example. So this is going to be like your how-to, like your resource guide, which I'm really excited about. So, couple things. Let's start with the reading list because you guys have noticed like I will sometimes read you an excerpt from a specific book, which I love doing, by the way, but I wanna share with you, like, when people ask all the time, like, "What are you reading? Like, who do you work with? What kind of resources do you have for somebody that wants to learn more about certain things for relationships or money or anxiety or, like, somatic work even?" So, first, let me just talk about, like, credentials and training because I think that's a really important part of the conversation. So, I am a trauma trained practitioner. There's a 3-year program through traumahealing.org, which is a program formerly known as Somatic Experiencing by Dr. Peter Levine. And that is an incredible program. It's 3 years for a reason. I think our cohort started around 90 people and about 15 people ended with our group. And that's because it brings up a lot of stuff. I don't think people realize that your nervous system becomes a tool in the healing component of this work. And maybe some of it was timing or financial commitments as well. So I can't speak for everybody, but um, there's a reason a lot of people don't end up moving forward with that. I also have worked with the American Council on Exercise for the past almost decade, at least decade probably. So I'm a former certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, certified behavior change specialist, certified weight loss and lifestyle management coach. Um, every year, every couple years, I would continue my education, um, continue studying, continue training. I've also gone through the trauma and somatics course by my friend Will Reason, which is for trauma informed coaching. That program's incredible. It's about 12 weeks long. I would say it's sort of a somatics 101. I knew a lot of it, and then there were other pieces I didn't, but it was sort of my green light and invitation into taking this work into a more serious trauma trained application, if you will. And so that's when I pursued Dr. Peter Levine's program. And I've continued to have mentors, many mentors, pretty much at all given times. Two of my most favorite mentors aren't even on Instagram, really. They are amazing. I love seeking the counsel from older, much older, wiser women. I'm talking women in their 60s and 70s that have lived many lives, that bring a sort of sage advisory to the conversation in ways that I have yet to consider, in seasons I have yet to live. And I have found, despite investing probably almost 6 figures in business coaching and strategy work, that I always return to myself when I am, you know, guided with wise counsel. And so spirituality and healing work is the strategy work. I come back to that again and again. I don't know why I continue to invest in some of the business programs. It's not to say I don't learn tangible tools, but sometimes they feel like they lead me away from myself. And do you ever feel like you inherited a borrowed blueprint of somebody else's version of success? It's easy to kind of get sucked into that, right? Because you wanna give that program your all. You want to go all in on the mentor. You wanna learn their way, and you really wanna be like a good student in that. But sometimes it can also have you micro abandon and betray yourself when you're like, there's just something about this framework or the way that this is done that doesn't feel authentic to how I really wanna live my life or the business that I truly wanna build. And so actually taking more time and space away from the business mentor stuff and more time in the experiential spirituality realm has been super helpful. And then learning how to balance both because we can't just, I joke about this, we can't just meditate on a mountain. We also need to take tangible steps and move through things, right? We have to take action. And just because, something feels uncomfortable doesn't necessarily mean it's not aligned. So it's a really important to discern that within yourself and to identify and define what success looks like and feels like for you. So anyway, that's just some about the credentials, a little bit about mentors, and where I have found myself and met my feet time and time again. And as far as reading goes, I get asked all the time what I'm reading, what I study, how I learned what I've learned. And what I'll start with is relationships and love. Jake and I are in a conscious partnership. We met in the work. There's a quote I love, and I think it's Maya Angelou, and she says that a woman's heart should be so deeply buried within God's that a man should seek God to find her. And that's the place that Jake and I met. And conscious partnership is wildly different than, um, I don't want to say unconscious partnership, but than a normal partnership. Why? Because I had that. I was married for 9 years with a partner for almost 12. We have two amazing kids. We co parent well. We have a beautiful blended family. But I felt like I was dying a slow death in that relationship. And it was because I was very asleep when I got into it. I was young. Yeah, I was just very unconscious and asleep to this entire world. Like, if you knew me back then, you would be like, okay, I need to know, like, what did you do to step into the woman that you are now? Like, you have rewritten your script. Like, you are so much more yourself, and yet you're completely different than when I knew you. And the reason I know this to be true is because those are actual conversations for anybody that survived those seasons with me, right? Anyone that came along for the growth journey that I didn't outgrow in the process, we've had those conversations. They're like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm like, "Inner child healing, I God is my co-creator." Like, the more I meet myself in God, the more I find my truth, and that's always the strategy. Like, the nervous system's the strategy. Like, and again, it's not to say I don't take action or work hard or have certain disciplines. That's required, right? But I move differently than most people, and I've come to realize that that's such a beautiful gift. That is my intuitive being. And so I also like to read books that move me. So, love and relationships, these are my top recommended thus far. There's other books on here that maybe just didn't make the list, but I've read them. Attached by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. Awesome book, easy to understand regarding attachment styles. Important information to notice is that some of the critique that they have received about this book is that they are not attachment experts. So I have heard through the grapevine. I actually haven't done my own homework on that, so just take that for what it is. Um, and that also they prioritize the anxious attachment style as sort of like they kind of just catered to it, right? And so in the book, it's kind of like that the anxious attachment style is sort of their feelings and thoughts feel more prioritized and important than the anxious achiever, like or anxious achiever, than the avoidant attachment. So the avoidant attachment, they typically seek to create space and distance in order to maintain their autonomy in a relationship, which feels safer to them, versus an anxious attachment style. They end up trying to seek closeness to then soothe their nervous system. Like, you're not going to leave me, right? Like, you're still here. So the critique was that the book tended to prioritize the feelings of the anxious attachment instead of the avoidant attachment, where it might have been, and this is a strong word, slightly demonized, right? Or made them wrong, made the avoidant attachment wrong, when really it's the same coin but two sides. It's the same, it just looks different, right? The avoidant just feels more comfortable with space, and the anxious feels better with closeness. So just same thing, but looks different. I found it to be really useful through my healing journey in redefining love and codependency and enmeshment. And it gave me a lot of new information, right? Things I didn't understand about being biologically wired for connection, not making myself wrong for seeking closeness with a partner. So I found it to be very enlightening. Another one, this author, Diane Poole Heller, is a somatic experiencing practitioner, just like the program that, I was in with Peter Levine. And she's an attachment specialist and expert, but this book has gotten like stand-up reviews. So if you want to go deeper into understanding attachment styles and relationship dynamics and polarity, those are great. Speaking of polarity, David Deida, Deida. Oh my God, I love him. The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida is actually written for men, but it explains energy and polarity in a way that you can just revisit the book, I mean, and find new truths every time. It's a really healing book to read in partnership. In fact, I have women that I coach, and I tell them, like, when their partner maybe doesn't understand the work that they're doing or why they're called to it, or they're scared that they might outgrow their partnership, I'm like, invite them in, right? Share with them what's happening, what new awareness you've come into knowledge of. Like what can you share with them to bring them into the process? And then this is a book I have them both read together, and here's why. It's small chapters that are digestible that you can read on a nightly basis, and you each read a chapter next to each other, and then you talk about it. Oh, like what I got from it was this, or how I perceived this to be was this. And it's just an amazing book that really puts energy and polarity into words in a way that I've never seen before. Amazing book. Dear Lover, this one's written for women, again by David Data. And then Dr. Nicole LaPera, who's also known as the holistic psychologist on Instagram, How to Do the Work. And what does the work mean? So if you're newer to the therapy world or like healing holistic modalities, this would be a great place to start because it's like, what the fuck does the work even mean? I think she does a great job of really speaking to people that maybe, it's just, she does a great job of making it tangible and digestible. Experiencing More Peace, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And this next book, I gave this book to probably clients that signed on with me for almost a year and a half consistently every time they signed on with me. And it was called A Return to Love. And it's based on the body of work, A Course in Miracles, which also is cumbersome but beautiful. And I love how Marianne Williamson takes something, again, seemingly intricate and complicated and puts it into her own interpretation, but in a way that the reader can really understand. That, if love is all that's real and exists and God is love, like everything is God and everything is love, like how amazing is that? And so a return to love, a return to self, a return to God and oneness. I love that book, and I actually am reminded that that would be a book I would love to revisit again. If you want to learn more about understanding somatics and the nervous system, The Body Keeps the Score. Bessel van der Kolk is a pioneer in this work. A lot of people know of that book. Again, it can be pretty dense to get through, but the premise is that essentially the body holds on to stuck emotions and it manifests emotional things as physical problems unless you release them and rewire them and heal them. So the body keeps the score. Like time does not heal all wounds, healing wounds does. Peter Levine, anything by Peter Levine, In an Unspoken Voice is a great book. Another book, Stephen Porges is he is the one who invented the polyvagal theory. So the pocket guided polyvagal theory. And then Gabor Mate, that man, that would be so cool to be in a room with him. When the Body Says No. He also has a new book called The Myth of Normal. I haven't read that one, but I want to say it might be about addiction. But the work about addiction and the connection between the nervous system somatic work is like basically, in a very, very, small nutshell. Essentially, that when you do the healing work, you less and less need to get away from the pain. And therefore, you are less likely to need the addiction. Like in many ways, you need the addiction, you need the coping mechanism as a way to soothe your nervous system. But the more healing you do, the less you actually need the coping mechanism because you have a certain level of resiliency in your nervous system. It feels less scary to be with that thing that's not very pleasant to feel. And he kind of talks about a lot of that in his latest body of work. Healing money beliefs. I would add The Psychology of Money, which I talked about on our last episode. I read an excerpt of Not Enoughness. But You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. That's a great one because you can actually do the tangible, practical things at the end of each chapter. Like there's like literal money mindset homework you can do every chapter. So just be prepared. It's kind of a quick read because she's funny and she's relatable in a lot of ways. And yet, you have to set aside the time to actually do the work in the book so that you can make the most of it. So just set aside time to like take each chapter as it comes and then do that work. I would add Profit First, which you've heard me go off on a tangent about in recent episodes. Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Holy shit, if you are not implementing this in your business in any way, shape, or form, you need to get on that because it will change the way that you spend money, invest money, save money, everything. suddenly, and again, going back to the theme of enoughness, suddenly it will feel like you don't need to make more money to have enough. You will know what to do with the money you have, in order to make it feel like more, to multiply it, and to prioritize a healthy profit for not just your business, but your nervous system, honestly. Happy Pocket Full of Money by David Cameron Gandhi. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That book has come up in so many circles that I'm part of over and over again. And then there's like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and like, I mean, there's just so many money books that I could recommend, but that's kind of a short list right there. Awakening Your Feminine Power. I would say there's actually a big gap in leadership books. I had a couple clients who said that Brene Brown has a leadership book, and I'm forgetting the title of it. Honestly, if I'm being really real with you right now, I can't listen to her voice. It bothers me for some reason, but I really like what she has to say. So, like reading her books, I wouldn't be opposed to. I haven't read this book. Dare to Lead. That's what it is. Clients have said time and again, this is a great book. They love it. I haven't read it. But I like her writing and I like her teachings. A Radical Awakening by Dr. Shafali. Oh my gosh, great book. Talks all about the masks. It's uh I have it under like feminine power because it's not really a leadership book, but I do recommend it as a leadership book because it's about awakening to our intrinsic power and our authentic truths as a woman. And I think that's really important because as women, that's our superpower, right? We learned to be like men or be liked by men, but we didn't really learn how to lead like women. In many ways, we're writing that blueprint right now in real time, which is challenging and confusing. And there's lots of double standards and dynamics at play we're still writing that, right? Working mom, that's a new thing, or retired husband, or stay at home dad. These are newer things that was not happening when my mom was my age. My mom doesn't even have a college degree. I was the first woman on my mom's side to get a college degree out of our whole family. So that's pretty crazy. And then we have a lot of women coming into new money. They're the first generation to make money. And so they go from, okay, can I do it, to, oh my God, I'm in a new tax bracket, which brings on a whole other subset of issues. And so, anyway, I say all that to say, like, we're learning, we're writing the blueprint. And so, whenever I find a female leader in whatever industry she's in, pioneering a new path, my ears perk up, and I feel that. And so, A Radical Awakening is a beautiful book. Talks about masks and again awakening to your intrinsic power. Clarissa Pinkola Este, I might be saying that wrong. Women Who Run with the Wolves. Oh gosh, that book is she is just such a gifted and talented writer. I mean, you compare that to anything that's written with AI now, and you're like, no chance. It's poetic, it's romantic, it's dripping in truth. It has this felt sense about it that feels like a return to the tribe. I don't even know how else to describe it. Beautifully written book. You will feel something when you read that. I guarantee it. Another leadership book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. You may not consider this to be a leadership book. Again, I think about and consider leadership differently than a lot of people. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote this, and it's really about the laws of the universe and how to play that game. It's an old, old book. When I first started reading it, I thought, what the fuck is this? And then I got into it and I was like, this is everything. So go pick up that book today. If you like that book, you will also like anything Neville Goddard. So on YouTube, you can listen to anything that he says, and this is a man that was considered a heretic because he was like ahead of his time. And that's the thing, like if modern day society is not really ready for what you bring to the table and the conversations that are like challenging the status quo around, you will be seen as like a lunatic. So but I think he's brilliant and I love his stuff. He talks about, God and you are one. God is not out in the sky. He talks about manifestation in really interesting ways, um, just well beyond his time. Food, Mastering Your Intuition with Food. This is a book over the many, 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 many years that I have been coaching. Back when I was a personal trainer and when I was coaching on intuitive eating and embodiment before I had this somatic piece and training, Intuitive Eating was a book I recommended and gifted to so many clients. I bought it by mistake. I bought it by mistake when I was in the throes of an eating disorder, just out of college. I was living in New York City. I was an art director at an ad agency, and I had gained a bunch of weight that I didn't know how to lose. And so I just went into, well, I'm going to just, get obsessed with this. And I'm not just going to like be really fit. I'm going to be like the most fit. And I'm going to like go on to do fitness competitions and fitness modeling, which I did do. And I became a sponsored athlete, but I also really fucked up my metabolism. So, this was a book that I visited and revisited time and again throughout my food journey and a return back to myself and my body. And it's intuitive eating. It's literally learning how to honor hunger cues and satiety, like really understanding what it feels to be satiated, like in your body, especially when you have not honored your hunger and maybe you have deprived yourself of food or maybe you've eaten past the point of fullness. Those are also avoidance strategies going back to the work of Gabor Mate, which is like food addiction, but also like the addiction of like thinness and feeling your hunger and the addiction of that. You're still feeling something. It's just not the emotion that you want to be present with. Those patterns run really deep. So that book changed my life. And I will tell you, it didn't make sense to me at first. So if you find that you are in the throes of recovering from food addiction or disordered eating, a lot of the principles at first made me angry because it invites you into paradoxical living. And what I mean by that is that it invites you into you can eat whatever you want, and then by virtue, you won't want everything that you say you can have. Simply because when you say you can eat the cake and then you allow yourself to eat the cake and you go through that healing, permission is freedom. And so then as a byproduct, you actually don't want the cake because you know you can have it anytime. Like it removes the emotional charge, I always say, around that food. And that book was so pivotal. Oh my gosh, pivotal in my healing journey, in my reconciling, with my body and just learning how to love myself and meet myself in any season. Because we go through so many seasons, not just on a cyclical basis monthly, but also with kids or, miscarriages or perimenopause or menopause, like whatever season you find yourself in, we're constantly in a new body, right? And what is our relationship to that body in that season? So intuitive eating, I return to again and again. Jake wrote Let Love In, so of course that's on my list because duh. A beautiful book about his becoming and how he learned to let love in. You'll see I'm in the foreword, which is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, and there's so many other brilliant and beautiful books, and I need to update this list, but that's kind of the high and low of the books, the gamut that I have just put into this very high level list of resources. So let's talk about real quick before we bring this episode in for a landing, ways that you can work with us um, right now in 2025. And some of these will be changing. I do see some of these changing toward the end of 2025 and into 2026. So let me just start with the first one, the Millionaire Mental Health Network. This is a 90-minute call once a month, a networking call. Um, but it's really about not the network of women that are in there, because yeah, they're awesome and they're powerful, but more the neural network pattern and what we're doing inside. So yes, we're rewiring and we're releasing, but it's really just a place that you can move through some stress and some of the emotional things that the invisible weight of leadership brings. So the thing that we kept hearing again and again is like, I am back in the trenches with my team. Profits are leaner, cash flow is tighter, and I am more stressed out as a result. And I know I'll get through this and it's going to be fine, but this is just a really challenging season. So I know I need this work, but I don't have the time or the cash flow bandwidth necessarily to commit to a long, arduous mastermind or to like a deeply committed, like one-on-one container. We have those too, but for women that find themselves in the season of wanting high level support at like, a low commitment, this is for you. It's 97 a month. You can cancel at any time. So we do those once a month. By the time you listen to this recording, we'll probably be well on to our third monthly thing, but we'll put that into our show notes, all the list of links that you can, just explore, click around, see if the dates align. But like I said, you can sign up for a month, cancel, come back, whatever. Or you can sign up for the full year. Obviously, replays are going to be in, the back end portal for you. Um, if you're not on the live call, it's not going to take anything away from your experience. In fact, you can go back and listen to them again, experience them again, because we're doing experiential somatic work, which means we're literally like using our body, using somatic tools, using things with a gentle theme for women at your level of success. And then we're bringing that into the conversation, but there's no hot seat coaching. It's literally like a group experience. So you can do it anytime, in any moment. You can watch the replay once or multiple times. So it's 997 for the full year, which gives you almost 2 months free on us. So that's Millionaire Mental Health Network. Then we have the Apex Leadership Mastery Academy, which is our signature program. That's where you're going to be guided through, like, if you want to go deeper into somatic work and learn how to bring it into your work, but also embody this work and move through your own inner limits, maximize and play at your full potential. This is where we heal and rewire that. And it's called, again, the Apex Leadership Mastery Academy. There's 8 modules. You can, in 16 weeks, achieve your somatic success certification, become trauma informed as a leader, and then you can experience a great deal of rewiring within your own body and being and leadership. So that's 6 months or 12 months, 5K or 10K if you pay up front. It's a small group. It's an intimate group of like 15 to 20, 25 women. It kind of fluctuates. And we have weekly 1 hour calls. And there's a master coach in there as well. So if you're like, oh, I've done group calls and group programs, it's not for me, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just need a different kind of support. Great. We also have the option for you to book in one-on-one with us if you need that kind of support too. If you need private, consulting time, exclusive rewiring that's like specific to you. It can be a little bit about business strategy. It can be just somatic work. It can be both. I'm a business strategist as much as I am a nervous system practitioner. So you get both in that program, which is really cool. We've talked about everything from like um, media kits and development to higher levels of visibility to creating higher cash months to getting promotions at your corporate job to getting clarity on if like what your next level vision is, to moving through people pleasing, rewiring, fight responses, all of that, like freeze responses coming out of that. So we really do the full gamut inside. And the modules are pretty fucking great, if I say so myself. The feedback is like literally verbatim. They're like, these are gold. I get not everyone is interested in modules. You don't even have to do them. You could still have a great deal of transformation. So there's that. And then of course we have one-on-one support with myself or my master coach, Delina, and that looks like single power hours. It looks like we have a 30-day accelerator. So if you're like, I want to do like a get in, get out over 30 days, you get 4 sessions, rewiring, some boxer support, cool, can do that too. VIP half days where you're like, I want to just do it all, work on this one big thing and do it in 4 or 5 hours and be done with it and move on to my next quarter. Cool, we can do that. And we also have ongoing one-on-one support for those of you that like the deeper, more intimate containers. So those are the coaching. And then we also have Champagne Club. So Champagne Club are the female founder dinners where we're actually traveling to Miami here in October. We only have 19 seats left for that one. And that's going to be an amazing event. I'm so excited about it. We're doing it at a new location, which I'm a little nervous about taking it on the road, but we're going to figure all that out. It's going to be amazing. I've got all the right support in all the right places. And so Champagne Club, come join us at a founders investors dinner. Once you are part of the dinner, at least how it works right now is you'll be added to our private community of other founders and investors. And that has 63 other women inside. We're probably going to cap that around 100 people and then make it referral only. But that's where we're at right now. And it's it's a luxurious experience, but it's also growth minded. You're going to get a little bit of the rewiring work, like the nervous system stuff that we do in the morning, and then we're going to go have a sit down dinner. So, really exclusive, intentional space. So yeah, I think that's everything. And the retreat. So made for more retreat, 4 spots left for that. Going to Grenada so that you can really step into what your next level looks like, right? This is about becoming made for more, leaving behind whatever you came to the island with, and going home a new human, lighter, with more clarity, ready to speed up, but in a way that feels really good, not like heavy and like you already have so much on your plate and you're burned out. Um, so that should be everything. We'll put all the links down below so that you have it all. But those are the latest resources and latest ways that you can work with us and the team. I hope this is impactful for you. I would love to know, is there a book that you recommend? Just shoot me a DM at I am Keri Ford on Instagram. Let me know, like, what are you reading? What are you finding value in. Like, what's a book you think I need to know about that I can share with clients or that I should read? Shoot that over to me and let me know. All right. I'll see you on the next episode. Keep it first class.